So this came up as a YouTube recommendation with the title Jess Phillips fails to answer any question during a tough grilling session. Now, I mean, I just put in about 8 minutes ago, apparently, is she on something? Another comment, what is so funny? This is about rape gangs. It's not funny. FFS. So Jess Phillips is out of her depth. This is dreadful. I mean, these are getting some decent amount of thumbs up. Like, this is the standard of cabinet ministers in the Labour Party. She's not answered a single question. She's a disgrace, a government minister, an all-time low. She demonstrates all the telltale mannerisms of a liar, not to mention sheer incompetence. Another one. What a disgusting excuse for a minister, totally unable to hold a meaningful discussion or answer a question with a meaningful answer. Get rid now. Unbelievable performance, unprofessional, winging it, appearance shabby. And she is a minister in His Majesty's government, beggars belief. Another one, this is the current state of UK politician, thick as mince, yet earning not short of 100k with expenses. Painful to watch. Yeah, it was. How on earth did she get to the position she is? The way she speaks to the committee is a disgrace. They should be asking her why she's laughing. Yeah, because remember, this is about child rape. Yeah? En masse. And under fair use. Now look at these guys. All well dressed, presentable, all the rest of it. Blah, blah, blah. Pretty much everybody else is. Now you could argue it's a hot day, although I would assume that these are air-conditioned offices, but, you know, who knows. But you can see everybody, by and large, is dressed accordingly. Now, under fair use, let me play you some of this.
Let's just take my focus on to some of the responses to Dame Baroness Casey, if that's all right, Minister, and just on the ICS recommendations as well, while we've got you in front of us. It was just, are you able to provide an update on the recommendations from the ICS report in terms of time frame when they are going to be implemented? Because at the moment, my understanding is we're not quite sure.
Well, look, no, I mean, I gave a statement.
I'm honestly all the way through this, and you look at her appearance. Seriously, you look at her appearance. It's almost skull-like when you look at it. I mean, this was her back in 2017, roughly 8 years ago, max. Yeah, and this, I mean, really. Between the hair, the lines are etched across the forehead. She was born in 81, by the way. Seriously. Born in 81. Which came as a shock to me, I'll be honest. Seriously. Yeah, October of 81. So she's roughly, what? 43, 44? Just about to turn 44, would that be fair? Anyway. I mean, it's disturbing. It truly is. Her performance, she seems to laugh about, well, I mean, they're discussing about the mass rape of children. And she's like, honestly, it's, and also, if you're not looking at her sometimes, look at these people behind her. You know, like, the whole thing. Honestly, I don't know if they're her handlers or something to do with PR or, you know, part of her team and all the rest of it, but they're doing lots of observation, shall we say, of everybody else in front of her. But her performance in this Jess Phillips, oh dear, dear, dear. Let's continue.
Statement to Parliament and published a plan, if you will, of some of the timelines that are really specifically on the ICSA recommendations. Once again, the Home Office is actually only responsible for, I think, 4 of the 20 ICSA recommendations. They are the responsibility largely of other government departments, but that has there is a published timeline on some of those things. Now, some of them are waiting and reliant on what happened last week, which is the comprehensive spending review, and so government departments are currently going away and looking at their obligations in light of the spending review. So I would say more.
I mean, it's painful, this. I won't play it all, but...
Well, okay, I'll pick powerful...
I mean, she's laughing, you know, at parts all the way through this. And yet the subject matter... And you can see by the body language of some of these guys are like, God almighty, what am I hearing here? Seriously.
To intervene in council exercise of
Look at this guy.
parental responsibility. So my understanding is...
I mean, this guy's probably in shock. Just looking at her like... Meanwhile, they're like, good God. I honestly, the thing that I thought was, is she on something? You know, like, I'm just wondering, it's almost like she's some hardcore, shall we say, stimulant taker. Honestly. And even at the end, where, I mean, she then moves, I mean, remember, this is in front of this inquiry, it's all supposed to be very professional, and then she just does this thing with her hand to her nose as if wiping snot away. I mean, no jokes.
In fact, and what I would say is that he is a man I respect, and your pleas, and certainly the pleas of Fiona Goddard, who I know you mentioned earlier, who I have met, are very convincing. Like, I wouldn't say anything else, and so yeah, but it's not for. It's absolutely not for me to say where things should go.
Thank you.
I mean, seriously, you know. Her whole performance in this is a disgrace. It truly is. You can see it by the comments. I'm not on my own here. You know, like, what the hell?
Or children. She is on the Violence Against Women and Girls.
Somewhere down here, an individual says, is she on something? Here. Is she on something? She thinks every question is funny and has a laugh. She should be fired from her imaginary position. Replies exactly my thoughts. Another one. She does look like she's on something. Maybe she thinks she's above everyone else and is protected by someone higher up. I mean, honestly, the body language, everything. Honestly.
We also have had a cross-government board specifically on the ICSA recommendations and how they pass over. Now, obviously, at an official level, we are speaking to the Department for Education on the issue of ICSA, not just ICSA, and also more broadly child abuse and our interventions in it. I'm going to say week in, week out. But the Secretary of State...
Remember, we were talking about the abuse of children, and she's just laughing through this. You know,
has met with the Home Secretary on a number of occasions. Like I say, I'm more than happy to find out, although it is available on the government websites, I believe, when they meet. It's something I didn't know until recently. So you can look to see how many times they've met.
Can you just provide any indication, if you're aware at the moment, on whether or not the structure following the announcement of the national inquiry is going to focus on more areas beyond the 5 that has already been indicated?
What you will know is that is independent of me, and so it would be wrong for me to tell an independent inquiry what and where it has to look at.
And do you, just following on the session that we had earlier on, which I know you were kindly listening into earlier on.
I still look at the guy next to him as well. It's like, what's going on here?
The panel session we had before.
I also watched half of Louise as well.
So, do you feel where levels of concern have been raised in particular areas, and I will mention Bradford Council again, and I know that you were kind enough to meet with me, and indeed David Greenwood, who I brought along to the meeting as an expert, as a child abuse lawyer, where there's been an element of concern that's been consistently raised in an area, and then you have a mayor for West Yorkshire who literally said 12 days ago, I believe, that we do not want a national inquiry, and now effectively accepting the recommendations. Do you feel it should be just and right for where there has been such level of concern raised at a local level that actually it would be helpful to have a spotlight shone on the Bradford district as part of this process?
I mean, again, far be it from me as to tell an independent inquiry where to go. What I will say is that I dislike and have for a number of years. I dislike that, and I'm sure these places dislike it as well, that the issue of grooming gangs becomes synonymous with basically 3 or 4 places that have, to be fair to them, been the places that have done the better work, which is a sort of...
I've done the better work. Oh, God, honestly. Anyway, I'll leave you a link to this underneath this vid, your thoughts, and I'll speak to you soon.